Hi, my name is Tim and I'm forgiven. You know, it gets really aggravating when you see politicians act like they have some sort of supreme right to do whatever they want to do. And for instance, to give this gentleman from New York who was found guilty of miscellaneous things, tax evasion, whatever you want to, however they charged it. Um, I seen him on one of the talk shows, and he almost smirked like, "Ha, I, you know, I get away with it. I can get away with it. I should get away with it." And as long as we keep electing for repeat terms, as long as we keep voting in the guys over and over and over, the deeper and deeper they're going to get in their power and in their control. Now, this it's our own fault. It's nobody else's fault. When people say, let's have term limits are not the answer, because we should be able as individuals to determine who's had their limit and who hasn't had their limit. I cannot explain why certain individuals, such as the one in Nevada, the woman from California, how do they get elected? Barney Frank I think he's from Massachusetts. Barney Frank, how did he get elected? How do these corrupted men get another term in office? Now, I know some of them weren't up for grabs this election, but I've clearly seen the grotesqueness of their ideology from before they were elected the first time. And you see some of these people and you're like, how in the world, how does good, honest, hardworking people put their names with these people? What's his name from Nevada? He got wealthy in public service. Now, a lot of this has to do with poor education, and I think the key to fixing our problem is to educate people who are voting. And for some reason, people think that you go from being poor to being a millionaire overnight, that it just happens, like your boat comes in and you're a millionaire. I don't want to say that doesn't ever happen, but in most cases, it's a step-by-step procedure. And we look at Harry Reid, I believe is his name, and we look at how he went from nothing to mass fortune without steps. There's only one logical explanation for that. Harry Reid is not a genius who invented something that just changed the world. Like, for instance, Bill Gates. Bill Gates' programs, Bill Gates' company has transformed the world. And from that, you get huge amounts of wealth. What Harry Reid did, you cannot follow the steps that take him from a everyday average citizen to a wealthy individual. The only logical conclusion is that there was a step that we didn't see, which had to be corruption. There had to be some payoff somewhere. And maybe this is strong language, and maybe I shouldn't be talking this language, or maybe we should all be talking this language. Maybe we should all call these individuals out into the open, get them out of the closet, say, look, we want answers, we need answers. We need to remove corruption from our politics. As long as our politics are corrupt, the government is going to be controlling things on the foundation of corruption. There's going to be problems. Now, if businesses operate, this is what happened with, the mob. It was corrupt. These things, criminal activity, have a short lifespan. The criminal activity within our government is going to cause the government to have a short lifespan. Eventually, these things are going to unfold. Now, I see these instances, the situation, the way I see the situation is, the burden of repair and fix is going to be placed on my grandchildren. So that means that now we're in chest deep. My kids are going to be in over their head. And my grandkids are going to be drowning. Now, if we want to leave this behind for our grandchildren to take care of, what manner of man does that mean? What kind of people are we that we would leave our children to drown in the corruption that started while we were here, while we had the chance and the opportunity to fix these things, to go attack these things, to correct these things? We have such a, we should have, and I do have, we should have such gratefulness to the great men who founded our country, because George Washington could have set up a legacy for himself that lasted. He could have set up a legacy that lasted forever, but he did not set up a legacy that lasted forever. A legacy that lasted forever happened for him because he did not choose to take it. Abraham Lincoln chose a legacy that he created a legacy that was created by a right choice, not by doing what he wanted to do, not by doing what he thought was good for the country, but what was right. You do what is right. Now the corruption, these men are going to leave a legacy. These men are going to leave a dark, dark legacy for what they are and what they have done. And I feel sorry for the liberals who are lying about what's wrong in our country, and when they know, and that, you know, God forbid I'm wrong, but I think they know what they're doing. They want power, they want corruption for themselves. They want to regulate, to control, and to distribute wealth for their own sake, to pat themselves on the back and to build themselves up. Now, anybody who knows me, who knows I've been saying this for my whole entire life. This isn't something that just sprung up because we've got health care for everyone. This is appalling. It isn't just because that the Democrats had the House and the Senate and the White House. It's not because of that. It's not because that a black man got the presidency. I would support Alan Keyes as president in a heartbeat. I would support Walter Williams for president in a heartbeat. I am behind Sarah Palin for president all the way. And we need, and not because she's a woman, that's icing on the cake. It's an insult to liberalism who say that radical right-wingers don't like women to have power. But she is the epitome of what our country needs. She is the picture of the leadership and the direction this country needs to go. Not for my sake, and not for your sake, but for the sake of our grandkids. Or I'm telling you, they're going to drown in this sea of corruption. It is going to be a battle that they cannot win without a lot of suffering. Now, we can still win this battle, but it takes you and me and every one of us to get out every single day and speak about the evil and about the corruption in government and about the freedom that was represented by our Constitution, that was given to us by men of extremely, extremely modest character. God bless you.